I think I'm doing it right. Come on. All right, redirecting to YouTube, and we are live. Yes, we are. Okay, folks. Let's see. Does it hear us? Yeah, it does. We're live. All right, redirecting to YouTube. Oh, geez, let me turn the volume off for myself here. There we go. All right. Go ahead and say something and make sure
Hey,
we're
what's
good.
up, Tim?
Hey, Casey, thanks for joining us. We're getting rolling here, trying to figure this out. We're got to make sure to get I got to get me a thumbnail and all that good stuff. It's silly how YouTube does this. It
Yes.
gives people a chance to get in. We got Eric Kwan coming in. Thank you, Eric, for joining us. We're just getting started. It's a little lumpy here. But we are here, fortunately, and it's good to be here. We were we had this planned,
Yes.
and then something came up, but now we're back. So
Yep. Had to do
we're
some
happy.
moving.
Yeah, Casey's doing some moving, and then I'm sure while you were moving, you were seeing all probably the craziness with the playoffs.
Yeah. Then you have the
Man,
doubleheader tomorrow. I mean, nobody knows it's going to be
yeah,
the sixth, because the thing is now the Dodgers finished first. And in fact, they had the best record in all
yeah.
of baseball, not just the National League. They get the winner of the number 3 seed versus number 6 seed wild card. Number 3 seed is going to be Milwaukee. Number 6 seed, your guess is as good as mine. It could be the Braves, it could be the Mets, it could be the Diamondbacks.
Wait, I thought they were playing the winner of 4 and 5.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. They should get the choice. It's so stupid. So they go and let's say that the number 6 seed wins, and then the number 4 seed wins. So the Dodgers would still have to play the
Yeah, no,
Padres.
you're right. 4 and 5. I'm sorry, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't they don't get to pick somebody, which I think is terrible. You get the best record, you should be able to pick. But the rules are the rules, and Rob Manfred doesn't care. We know that he's
Yeah, no
sorry.
doubt.
Um, but yeah, tomorrow, who knows what's going to happen? We do
Yeah.
know that one of those teams is going to fly out to San Diego
Yeah.
or to Milwaukee, and one team may go home, but they both may be flying out. The Diamondbacks could fly to either one. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So
Uh,
the Dodgers look like they're gonna if San Diego wins, they'll be taking on San Diego again. That'll be interesting.
I know we've seen what's happened the last 2 years. Those division guys get hot. Well, they come right out of the playoffs, right? Or they
Yeah,
come right
right.
out of their own postseason game,
Yeah.
and they're fired up. They're ready to go. And our guys are just going, hey, we just had a week's worth of intramural baseball, you know?
Yeah. I know a bunch of minor leaguers are getting called up, which will be fun.
Yeah.
Dodgers are going to have an optional practice on Tuesday. It's going to be probably lock the door to the facility tomorrow, and then a bunch of inter squad scrimmages, which are just about as good as you can do
Yeah.
for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and then strap it up on Saturday for good against the Padres, the Braves, the Mets, or the Diamondbacks. We don't know who that would be. We know one of the possibilities definitely is going to be the Padres.
Yep.
Of the other possibilities, no telling, because you have the doubleheader tomorrow between the Braves and the Mets. And I was looking at it. It looks to me like the Braves are going to come up at 161 games or 88 and 72 right now, right? Or do they play tonight?
No, they play two tomorrow. That's all I thought. That's
Okay, yeah. So there's 150, there's 160 right there. Yeah. So their results must not have been in when I looked last time. So they are
they
88 and 72. Them and the Mets are exactly tied.
right.
Arizona's at 89 and 73. So Arizona has one more win than both of those teams, one less loss. And I can't lie, I don't have any clue who has the tiebreakers between the Braves, Mets,
Yeah,
and
I'm gonna look
Diamondbacks.
up Jeff Passan. He had a good tweet about it. Okay, directly from Passan. I'll just read it directly. credit to at Jeff Passan, the real one. With Arizona and New York winning and Atlanta losing, the full doubleheader between Mets and Braves is happening Monday. Both games will be on ESPN2, or as the commercial used to say, ESPN. That was funny. The first starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If either team sweeps, that team in Arizona is in. With the split, the Mets and Braves are both in.
Okay, so the Diamondbacks need a sweep.
And if, I mean, let's be honest, whatever team wins, they're in. And I would say game two of the team that wins the game one, they're going to go, I just called up that guy.
Yeah,
It's a double
yeah,
header, so
right,
they'll also have that extra player.
right, right.
So
So all you got to do is win one game. Yeah,
yep, that dude pitches and they won't care. So, I mean, the Diamondbacks are still in bad shape, relatively speaking. But yeah, I think, Padres are a really good team. We talked about this before last week. Um, they're a really well-rounded team. AJ Preller, after 11 years, has finally put together a real team. Props to him finally. My favorite GM still.
yeah.
All the contracts he's given away. But what are your thoughts on well, let's talk about 162 game season just ended today for the
Yeah,
Dodgers.
pretty
What
crazy. 40 different pitchers, 17 different starters. Mookie Betts was out. Max Muncy was out. Man, Freddie Freeman was out. Will Smith was, and then you had just the really rough start, basically first half of the season by Gavin Lux. James Outman didn't perform the way that you expected him to. And through it all, somehow the Dodgers figured out a way to have the best record in all of baseball. So this is, if not last year, this is the best regular season job that Dave Roberts, I think, has done. Now, I know Dodgers fans are screaming from the rooftops right now. I don't care what he does in the regular season, right? We need to win a World Series for me to put Dave Roberts in the trust tree. That's fine. I'm not in that boat personally. You and I both are on the same wave that if he actually wins another World Series anytime within the next generation, this generation of Dodgers players, he is a Hall of Fame manager. Just basing him against other managers that are in the Hall of Fame. That's not necessarily my opinion. That's just basing his statistical performance against other managers that are in the Hall of Fame. That's how good of a job he has done. He gets definitely a short stick from Dodgers fans, no doubt about it. But that's a blessing and a curse, Tim. The curse is he's unfairly criticized for everything he does. The moves that he does make on a nightly basis that do work don't ever get mentioned by the people that criticize him, right? They only mention the moves that don't work. That's the curse of it. The blessing of it is you have the greatest fan base on earth.
Exactly right. I agree. Hepatitis C later's in the house. And he says this is our year. Boy, let's hope so. But yeah, to kind of talk more about Doc, and everyone needs to just think back for a second. Doc doesn't do everything. He's part of the process that makes the
Yes.
lineup. He's part of the process that makes the game
And I
plan.
like that there's a collaborative effort.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on that. It's like, I was watching the little tape of Whitey Herzog when he was hired by the Cardinals talking about some of that stuff. But that's just the game has changed. It's not going back. We're never going to have a Whitey Herzog or Earl Weaver that makes all the choices and they kick the GM out of the clubhouse. That's over. It's all gone. And it's a collaborative effort. It's a collaborative effort the whole way through. So heaven forbid that they don't get out of the first round. Just heaven forbid. But that's not all on Dave Roberts. No matter what, it would be systematic. And it's been
It
a
is, and
systematic failure.
it
Yeah.
isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't from an execution perspective,
Right.
but it is in the sense that he is the manager. He chose to be the manager of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and if you don't win the World Series, that's on you, man. I mean, you're not hired to win regular season games. You hire on as a Dodgers manager to win World Series. So if you fall short of that, then you have fallen short of what you were hired to do as the Dodgers manager. If you don't like that kind of pressure, which Dave does,
Yeah.
Dave is great. If you don't like that kind of pressure, go be the manager of the Angels or the Pirates or somebody like that, and have a good regular season and have them love you for that. But hey, I know Johnny Adkins very well. I saw every one of his starts at Oklahoma State. He's in the front office with the Dodgers. I know Billy Gasparino very, very well. Matter of fact, he was a teammate of Josh Holliday, who is
Hmm.
the head coach at Oklahoma State now, of
Oh, there
which
you
I'm
go.
very connected with at this moment. And so Billy Gasparino was a fantastic baseball player. So for anybody to ever say to me, hey, I don't like it that those two guys are part of the collaborative process, I'll just give you the experiences that I've had with them as baseball people. And I'll just push back and say, I love the fact that those guys have a voice and they all collaborate together. And these great baseball minds put together the best plan. And also, too, everybody puts their ego to the side for the betterment of the cause, right?
Right. And Brandon Gomes, the general manager,
Yes,
was a
absolutely.
major league pitcher. So yeah, they have that. I could see though, I look at it going, the system needs to, hopefully they've adapted. That's all I can say. And then if
They
things go
have.
south, we'll be all over the place. We'll be all over the internet talking about it. But it's one of those things where it's time to do it. They
It
have
is.
the talent. I think there were some good things that we saw against the Padres. The first game was shaky, and everyone was, I was torqued out. It's because I got to deal with it, right? I
Talking
got to
about the
deal with these
Padres
people.
series.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I,
Not a
I got
good
to
night for
deal with
Dave.
the people down here, and of course, I get all the texts when the Dodgers lose to the Padres and nothing when they win.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, but I saw some things that some good signs. I thought they lost that first game, but they came back. They didn't get down. You could see there's just an energy. I think Shohei, obviously, what 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 can be we can't. There's nothing more to say. He's amazing and he's driven. And I see the team just going, "Hey, I'm gonna follow this guy and go for it." We see Mookie Betts stepped up. I know he took a lot of crap for all sorts of things, hey, doing something kind of amazing, which was popping out to four different infielders in
Yeah,
one game. And
sure.
then, the whole podcast stuff and whatever. But he stepped up. Freddie Freeman, uh, just doing his thing. And gosh, it's tainted, of course, when we see Freddie Freeman roll that ankle like that. I mean, I think we all just kind of threw up on our mouth when,
No,
when we
no
saw
doubt.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of like another one again. I
Yeah.
mean, what else can we take on now?
Yeah. Was it the game before or two games before that when Miggy Rowe had,
Yeah,
did his injury? Those guys have been so important. And I want to give a shout out to Miggy Rowe.
yeah,
They were talking about today, and I thought it was a really cool little thing. Other than Shohei Ohtani, who was the MVP of the Dodgers, and Teo was mentioned, of course, and then two of the people, I think it was Gavin and maybe it was Karros or Steven Nelson said Gavin Stone, which was really cool.
yeah,
But another one is Miguel Rojas.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, where would they have been without that man in the field making amazing plays, leading? He is the leader of that team.
Emotionally, definitely, and then the play. Obviously, the offenses
Yeah,
has. I think Dodgers fans didn't realize he's had some good offensive years. They kind of looked at the couple of years leading up to whenever he came to the Dodgers. My biggest concern was for him, and it's proved to be the case. And back whenever, of course, they people didn't want Mookie Betts at shortstop. Then Mookie Betts got hurt. My comment on that situation was it cannot be Miguel Rojas at shortstop every day. And I didn't come at it from that perspective because I didn't think he was good enough to do it. I came at it from that perspective because he's 36 years old and he's not going to be healthy by the time you get to the playoffs. And I
yeah,
think that kind of proved itself out. So I think Miggy Rowe definitely has been an emotional leader. He's been a leader on the field. He's been just simply fantastic. It's been unfortunate the Dodgers have had the injuries they've had to not be able to, because like at the beginning of the year, they were able to cherry pick when to play him, where to
yeah,
play him, keep him healthy. And man, he was rocking and rolling. It's too bad the Dodgers couldn't have stayed healthy enough to keep him in that type of role, in my opinion.
Yeah, and they were spelling him with Tommy Edmond every once
Yes,
in a while, which was
but they didn't
great.
get Edmund until the trade deadline.
Exactly, yeah. And so there was that wear and tear of the season, right? They
Yeah,
just 162 game grind. It's there. I mean, I've never, until you go through it, I'm sure it's just what the heck. But he has been phenomenal. Tommy Edmond is playing some really good shortstop, and um, worst case if he is not ready, we have Pajes, it looks like, in center, and Mookie in right with Lux. Well, I mean,
yeah,
last time we spoke, Gavin Lux was terrible again, and
yeah,
what do you know?
yeah.
Uh,
Got
I
to
I
pop the
texted
deck.
I texted Clint Pasillas. I said, Clint, you need to go rip him another one. He did, and all of a sudden, Gavin's hitting again. So I guess the season's all on Clint Pasillas, Mister the Real FRG from All Dodgers podcast. My gosh.
Yeah,
But yeah, isn't it so refreshing to see Gavin Lux all of a sudden? It looked like he started attacking the ball again.
yeah,
What did you see there?
yeah. Gavin's a guy that's really hard on himself, and so I mean, when he goes on streaks that he expects perfection. I mean, he expects himself to be great every time he goes out, and so like when Gavin gets in trouble, in my opinion, is when he gets too selective, and the next thing you know, he's indecisive, and then he's down 0-2, and then he's trying to hit a pitcher's pitch, and he's being defensive at the plate. So Gavin Lux is a guy that needs to go out and attack the pitches that he thinks that he what so whatever the game plan is. Okay, I'm trying to get this guy to throw this pitch in this location. Gavin Lux needs to go out and attack that pitch and hit that pitch. And when he gets in those grooves and he gets the pitches he's looking for, he's very good. When he gets out of those grooves, or maybe he fouls that pitch off, now there's some indecisiveness. That's where you see the Gavin Lux that dribbles balls to second base, that takes fastballs right down the middle, that swings at pitches that break out of the dirt. So, I mean, there's been very little in between for him. It's either he found and hunted the pitch that he wanted, got aggressive after it, hit it hard, or he didn't and he got indecisive and not aggressive. And then another part of it is, I've said this for a long time, Gavin Lux is at his best when he's hitting the ball up the middle to right field. He's not, when he tries to go opposite field, he goes underneath the ball. He pops everything up. The ball goes over his barrel. He's too far behind the ball, of which his uncle mentioned a couple of times. And so when he's really just trying to hit that line drive right over the pitcher's head, and then if he's a little bit early, he hits it to right field, that's where he's at his best.
Yeah, for sure. And another surprise, um, Chris Taylor.
Yeah,
All of a
starting to
sudden, I
hit.
mean, he's hit like over the last few. I saw something over the last few games hitting
He
a
wants to
well.
be on that playoff roster, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks like, especially with Kiermaier dislocating his finger,
Yeah.
that opens it up. So I think that's a done deal. Pajes makes it, Taylor makes it,
Yep.
and Kiermaier doesn't. Um,
Which we all predicted that. Even without the Kiermaier injury, that was exactly what we predicted.
well, yeah, and because you could see it in the playing time patterns,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Like, hey, wait,
Well,
Pajes is not
when they
there.
brought in Andy against the Padres in that second game after Mickey Rowe got hurt,
Yep,
when they brought in Andy to play center field instead of Kiermaier, because the Dodgers had to win that game. That was a must-win
yeah,
game, in my opinion. At least it needed to be viewed as one. I mean, it
yep.
wasn't must-win because if you lose it, you still have a one-game lead and all that kind of thing. But it needed to be managed like a playoff game, correct? Like a must-win game. So when Dave chose Pajes over Kiermaier, that told you all you needed to know in terms of who was going to make the playoff roster.
Yeah, exactly. And it's great to see these guys stepping it up. And it's not, oh, it's just by default. No, these guys earned it.
Yes, they did.
And that's what I was hoping to see. Now the question for you. What about the guy who got the 14th different Dodger pitcher to get a save this year? Mr. Friend of the show, Edgardo Enriquez.
Yeah.
I think he's on.
You think so?
Yeah, I could because
Like, what role do you see him playing in the
we-
playoffs?
well, they put Honeywell on the injured list. I mean,
Okay.
it's a crack nail. So I mean, and I think the injured list, who it could be even a 60-day, and it's they could still probably go. Um, so that's not a worry. But think it's as a role as a guy that can come in and do some damage.
High leverage,
Not in
like
a
tie
closer
game,
role.
sixth inning, or is it like a game that you're down 4-1 in?
I think you start with that.
Yeah,
I think yeah.
right.
We'll see. I think it comes down to either him or Honeywell. Now Honeywell brings you length,
I
right?
know if it was on brand for the Dodgers, which one they would choose there. They would choose the veteran.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what's on brand for the Dodgers is to choose that veteran. Now,
Oh, it's
health
a good
withstanding.
there's a good point here. Because Brewstar did go down.
Yeah. So that
So
opens up
that
that spot.
that puts Edgardo in, I think.
Okay,
And
good.
I think
Good.
maybe Honeywell could make
Good.
it.
This is I don't think the Dodgers lean on or rely on Edgardo for any kind of high leverage, but I think they give him the exact type of experience that he could use to springboard into some high leverage situations for next year
Or even hopefully later on in the
in
playoffs.
the
I mean,
playoffs. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I always go back to was it K-Rod back in 2002 came in and
Yeah.
just did some nasty stuff against everybody for the Angels, helped them win that World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always that hope. It's like, oh man, maybe it'll be that guy and things like that. So important information from our guy Dan Inspiration. Lance Lynn stats for 2024, 23 games, 117 innings pitched, gave up 16 home runs. That's pretty good for him. Otani, 54 home runs. So Otani wins the contest. That's good. I was gonna track all that stuff, but I got sick and lazy. And then good question is Brewstar going to be on the postseason roster? I agree, we really do need him, but I don't. It can't be good if they had to put him on right in the middle of that uh, I keep wanting to say Chargers, Padres, Padres. A lot of Chargers jerseys today, even though they're in LA. I saw them in church and at the restaurant later. Um, but yeah, I doubt it, but you never know. Maybe later because he was so good too.
Yeah. Well, it's all going to depend on if he's healthy or not, right?
Yeah, because I had him in the top four of the trust.
Mm-hmm.
With
Sure.
Kopech, Phillips,
Trying.
Brewstar, and then Trinan. And
And
then
then I think maybe Daniel Hudson, Alex Vesia are
yeah,
fringe.
somewhere in there.
I think they're in the trust tree if those other guys just aren't available at all, and it's the next best guy up, right?
Yeah. And Banda looked good today. He seems to be healthy from whatever dumb thing he seemed to have done.
Yes.
Um, learn that lesson, Mr. Banda, but
Yeah.
good for him. And well, we saw maybe a pattern today with Banda starting and then Landon Knack coming in for a good four.
That could be your game four.
Yeah. And I think you just got to play this game by game, really pitch by pitch, right? It's like
Sure.
there is no tomorrow. You just got to go and you can't. Last year, I honestly believe that the series was lost in the first half of the first inning.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, you can't let someone go out there and die like that. You have to fix that quickly. But I. I guess is it Flaherty first and then Yamamoto? Is that what we're
That
saying?
I would go Flaherty, Yamamoto, Bueller, and then bullpen game with
Yeah.
probably Landon Knack as your bulk inning guy. That's what I've been saying for definitely ever since Walker Bueller's last start. That's been what I've been saying.
Yeah, and even with I think there's 2 days off in the first round. I think it's between the travel days, right? There's two
Yes.
travel days in
Right.
there. Even with that, I don't think that's enough for Yamamoto to go games one and games five.
Right.
He's I mean, he did look better. I thought better yesterday than he has before, and even that's in Colorado. And so
Yes.
with the Colorado stuff, which is bad for your breaking stuff, look better.
Yeah.
Um, hopefully he can just. Well, you talked about it last week on your show. Flaherty and Yamamoto, they got to go earn their money.
Yeah, they do. That's why the
That's the
Dodgers
game
got him.
plan. They got to win, and it's probably I'm going to
They
guess
have no margin for error. I mean, they just don't.
right. And they're probably, I'm going to guess they're going to go against Cease and Darvish,
Right.
something like that. Or the Michael King's been good against the Dodgers. He's been good all year.
Padres are good, man.
They are just,
Honestly, I mean, I'm not sure the Padres don't have as good of a roster, if not better than the Dodgers. Obviously, they don't because the Dodgers beat them in a 162 game schedule. But I mean, also the roster's changed
Yeah.
throughout. I don't think I think the Padres have a different roster now than they had in that period of the season where they lost the division, which was what, like May, June, where they got down like 10 games, something like
Yeah.
that. So as of right now, the roster the Padres have, I'm not sure it's not as good as the Dodgers when you stack up starting pitching versus starting pitching. I mean, the Padres have racked up the most amount of hits. They have the highest batting average of anybody in baseball or National League. One of the, I think it's all of baseball. So they obviously can hit, right? And then, I mean, they usually play good defense. So, I mean, and then their bullpen has been the best bullpen in baseball since the All Star break. So, man, that Padres team is really freaking good. So the Dodgers will really have to strap it up and play well. If,
Mm.
to be honest with you, like in the 90s, Dallas couldn't beat San Francisco, and then San Francisco couldn't beat Green Bay, and then
Right.
Green Bay couldn't beat Dallas. And
Right.
so the way Dallas won those Super Bowls was that Green Bay beat San Francisco, and Dallas never had to beat San
Yeah.
Francisco, right? So, kind of what I'm hoping is that somebody beats the Padres, and the Dodgers don't have to mess with any of that.
Right. Yeah, because they're starting pitching. They're four good pitchers deep.
Yeah.
Darvish, Cease, Musgrove, and King. I mean,
Musgrove
my
showed me a lot. He had never pitched good against the Dodgers. I felt like the Dodgers kind of owned some space in his head a little bit, if you
yeah.
will. He debunked all that. He showed me that he is ready to accept the challenge of the Dodgers. So I think you are correct. They now have four guys that can go out and beat any pitcher the Dodgers put on the mound.
Yep, exactly. And yeah, I mean, in general, I think they do have a better all-around roster at this moment of active players and all that. And where the Dodgers have it, I think even at the end of the day, I think the Dodgers 1 through 9 will have the better lineup.
Yeah. Yeah,
Especially
maybe a little bit. It's definitely more, I would say, more explosive. Like if I were to ask you which team is going to, like if there's an 8-1 game, which team's going to win that 8-1 game? I would say the Dodgers got hot. Will Smith, Max Muncy, Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts all hit home runs. Tommy Edman had a couple of hits.
right.
Gavin Lux drove in a run, and the Dodgers won that 8-1 game. I would say
Yeah.
this though, and this didn't necessarily play out at all, but the Padres are excellent at getting base hits. They're excellent at moving runners, and they're
Hmm.
excellent. So it's a get on, get over, get them in. The Dodgers are better at that brand of baseball. Excuse me. The Padres are better than the Dodgers at that brand of baseball. So the close playoff games that are close like that, I think the Padres probably would have the advantage because they do have that really good bullpen. Other than the fact, here's one big problem the Padres have. Who the hell's their closer right now? I
Yeah,
mean, that's a
Suarez.
problem for
Yeah.
them.
Suarez has been really shaky. I
He
mean,
has.
literally a triple play bailed that guy's
Yes,
butt. I mean,
absolutely.
the Dodgers had what, 4 hits or something in a, I mean, they were just, they had 4 guys on base before even an out was recorded. That was truly one of the luckiest things we've ever seen in baseball. And then the
Bunt the
Dodgers
ball. Bunt
they
the
lit
ball.
up,
That doesn't happen.
yeah, they lit up Tanner Scott.
Yeah.
And so that was a good thing. And he's kind of one of their other closers. So they got to their bullpen a bit, and maybe the Padre bullpen is a little stretched. And now they have to play at least 2 games,
Mm-hmm.
and and let's hope, praying for 3, folks. I
Yeah.
got my baseball rosary out. I'm gonna work it for uh for a 3-game series with the Padres. Get that bullpen fried, and get the Dodgers ready to go, and to really they got to punch them in the mouth, I think, really quick. And because I do think at the end of the day, that Padre team is still very emotional. Guys like Profar, Machado, obviously, those guys are, they're very emotional type guys.
Bogarts is extremely emotional, not like the punk emotional like you're talking about there,
Yeah.
but from a confidence perspective. I mean,
Yep.
it's like he lives and dies with the results of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good thing and a bad thing. It's
Can be
good
a
when they're
blessing and a
hot.
curse, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean,
Typically
that's what,
speaking in baseball, it's a curse because it's a game
yeah.
of failure, right?
Really is. And like in 2022, the Padres went and they got hot and they beat the Mets. And then they carried that in against the Dodgers. They were extremely confident. And that year, that was the year that the Dodgers were like 17-5 against them or something absurd like that. They
Yes.
just pounded the heck out of them. This was before they balanced.
Last time I ever talked Padre crap on the Padres, that was it.
Yeah, yeah. They've been good. And I because I'm here in San Diego, of course, I see a lot more Padres stuff than anything. So I don't even know the Braves. I know have lost their third baseman, um, and they're battling. They
Yeah,
shouldn't be doing. They shouldn't have to be doing that. And the Mets have pitchers that are pitching that I don't know much about myself. So um, we might see one of them. I don't know, but as a baseball fan, I'm excited. Excited about tomorrow. In fact, there's a doubleheader tomorrow. I love that stuff. But as a Dodger fan, you start getting nervous. So, like, I think it was Josh Thomas said, "Hey, let's enjoy this day." There's no pressure right now. The Dodgers have had a phenomenal season despite everything that happened. We've witnessed Shohei Ohtani be amazing. We got some people in the chat. Um, let's see, we got Aaronetic in the house. Super excited about October. Dan Inspiration says putting a twist on things. Otani first came on the mound. No, no, no. And there was still a question is if he's going to face hitters. So that's still out there. And I think one thing to remember, what we saw from Otani this year with the 50-50, there's no way he's going to try and steal near as many bases next year if he's pitching.
sure.
There's just no way. I mean, can't do that. But it's been an amazing thing to see. Mr. Classic in the house. Dodgers doesn't matter what the Dodgers do, but first game you cannot come out flat. I agree. Yeah, just go. Hepatitis see you later. Bring on whoever. I love that. Got to be hitting from the get go like 2017. Yes, we do. Let's see. Oh, the incline's in the house. Hey, Kevin. Thanks, man. Um, yeah, whoever. Yeah, just got to go. Just yeah. Whoever the best team should beat the best. Yeah. But I do think that there's something this Dodger team's got, like I said earlier, they got some guys on a mission. I'm really excited about Teo and Shohei. Tommy Edmonds been there before. I think Mookie and or Freddie is they're going to have their revenge for last year. Because I mean, 1 for 20.
Yeah,
That's
right,
yeah. So
right. And
I'm just I'm nervous and excited. I think I'm going to try to go on Saturday.
are you? Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah. Yeah,
That'll be
it'll be
fun.
an all day thing. Right. Last I saw the games at 1. I'm probably gonna have to leave at 6 a.m. because it's gonna be nasty crazy.
Traffic.
Oh, it's gonna be crazy. But I've only been to one game as a fan this year. And I just want to go and sport the Dodgers gear and just enjoy it. And because last year I didn't go to Dodger Stadium, didn't get a chance. And then the year before, the only game I saw was game 4. I was there in person for that trash. Um, yeah. That's just the way it was. So let's see. Yep, Dodger Blue 82 in the house. Yeah, Michael Negretti. I hope the Dodgers can win it all this year. I tell you, man, if they win it, you got to come out for the parade. You just got to do it.
Out to LA?
Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be fun.
just
That would be a lot
just
of fun.
you just got to do it.
I
You
need to
stay at
come
my
out for
house.
one of
I'm
the
serious,
games.
man. You get we got extra room. You stay crash at my house. We'll just go. We'll get on the train and go up there. Get off at Union Station.
Yeah,
Go for it. We'll do it.
might have to do that.
We'll just
Might have
freaking do it.
might have if they win the World Series. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun, no doubt about it. There's 11 games to go, man. It's gonna get
Yeah.
this is it just seems like we've been talking. I'm the world's worst, so when I say Dodgers fans, trust me, I'm talking about myself. Okay, it just seems like until the Dodgers win another World Series, and it's not a condensed season. That it's like in May, I'm like, okay, well, in the playoffs, and then June, well, it's like, and then finally, like Coach Barikoff, Coach Holt were like, dude, just live in the moment, man. Just enjoy the fact that we won a game last night, or And I'm like, man, I just can't relax because
Hmm.
everything that I have geared thoughts wise is to we got to win a World Series. We have to win a World Series. So it's kind of interesting that it's finally here, right? I mean, this is the
Yeah,
moments we've been talking about all year. There's going to be a ton of pressure on these guys. So that's why you had to go out. That's why I said we all said in the offseason, that's why it was so imperative that you go out and you get some pitching that even if your bats come out a little bit tight, uptight, and you're a little bit nervous or whatever, and you don't score in the first 3 or 4 innings, you're not down 7-0. You
right.
need a guy that can shove for 4 or 5, maybe 6 innings to allow your offense to get settled into the game. And then once that happens, somebody bangs that first hit, you get a lead. Now everybody relaxes a little bit and you play Dodger baseball.
Yeah, and I'm with you because if you get that 5 innings, I think we got enough. We got enough bullpen to lock down the game from there. We One of the things though that I didn't like, and so I'm gonna a little critical of Doc here. It was second and third game. So game two, they brought in Trinan to pitch to Tatis, Profar, and Machado, and he
Mm-hmm.
destroyed them.
He did.
Just destroyed them. But then the next day, he did the same thing. So they're seeing him for the second time in a row, and it was not smooth. I mean, he
And
escaped.
Blake wasn't sharp.
Yeah, he wasn't sharp, and it's second day in a row. So I'm hoping that that type of stuff doesn't happen. That they can mix and match a little bit in there. I understand because when Trinan's on, he's so nasty.
I don't care how many times they've seen him.
Y-
They ain't hitting him if he throws the way that he's capable of. They ain't hitting him.
The
Matter of
question,
fact, I think it's almost better because I think he's in Machado's head. Of course, I'm going to regret to say this. I
yeah,
said last time I talked crap on the Padres was that they beat us what a couple years ago. So here I go. But I just think he's in Machado's head so much right now. I don't care how many times he faces him because I just think it's one of those matchups to where Machado is out before he ever goes up to home plate. Now I say that if he hits a home run off of Trinan, don't blame my ass. I'm just a dude behind the microphone that doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, right?
yeah. And it was just, I think Trinan has trouble 2 days in a row, 2 calendar days in a row. I
what
think.
what veteran doesn't?
Yeah, and that's one of my concerns about the bullpen is that type of stuff, those types of things. But yeah, I trust Kopech. I think Evan's good. Man, it'd be nice to have Bruce Dar in there. Vesia, maybe. Um,
I trust Alex in a 1 inning setting, like in the 6th inning. I don't want him in the 8th inning or anything like that,
right.
but I think if you got a good start, you have a 2 or 3 run lead. I trust Alex Vesia for 1 inning as that first guy after your starter.
I do think he has a problem with coming in and then going on the bench and then coming back out.
Yeah, it's called an up down. Yeah,
Yeah,
there are some guys that
yeah,
aren't good at up downs. It's literally that simple.
yeah.
Because Alex Vesia, I can tell you this,
He's
even
hot.
in a AAA start, he's like hyperventilating.
Yep.
It's like in between pitches. It's like, dude, man, you're gonna kill yourself. There's 162 games. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna die if you ride and live and with every pitch like you're doing here. So, in my
Right.
opinion, from what I've seen close up in Oklahoma City, you've seen in Los Angeles at the major league level, he is such an emotional dude. The way that he pitches, he rides the highs and lows. That he gets this high coming off the mound, then he's got to sit there and he comes down off of that high. And if you've ever crashed off of a high like that,
Yep.
it's hard to get back on top of that. And so
Exactly.
that's why you're just trained as a baseball player. Just you can't ride the highs and lows. You got to stay even
Right.
keel. He is a guy that is high and low. So an up down for him, especially if it's an inning that's long enough to let him come down off of that high,
Uh,
is not good. So he is a 1 inning guy. Let him get in there and get some momentum, ride that high, and get the ball to the next guy, in my
yeah.
opinion. Now, that's
Because
not to say he can't pitch 2 innings,
right,
but
I
I
know what
think
you
that's
mean.
the most effective role for him.
Yeah, because what Doc will do is he'll do, bring him in, he'll get a couple outs, then he'll go, oh, I'm gonna get that one more
Yeah.
left-hander.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like, because he walked I think it was Cronenworth or Merrill. I don't remember. It was one of those two, and he walked him like,
Yeah.
oh
He
God,
tried to sneak an extra out or two. Yeah.
exactly. And you could do that obviously with some guys, but I just don't think it's with Vessia that works.
If you
Uh,
get 3 clean outs or you get 2 clean outs from Vesia and he has the down, because the up
mhm.
down is you sit down, then you get back up to go pitch again, right?
Yeah.
That's an up down. That's a complete up down. So really what a lot of these bullpen guys do is they count up downs, right? How many times did I get up in the pen, get
Yep.
back down, and or how many times did I get up, come and pitch, have to sit back down in the bull in the dugout, come back out. So, yeah, I think if you get one up from Alex Vesia, that is successful. I just don't think that you play with that fire. I think you call it good. You consider yourself fortunate, and you pass the ball to Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan,
Yep.
somebody like that.
Yeah, I agree. Is that you cannot have these leadoff walks. I mean, oh boy. I
You
just
can if you're Engardo Enriquez because he can strike everybody out.
right.
He seems like he walks somebody every time he pitches. That's one of my concerns is
Yeah, I
just
agree.
as the play. I don't know, just we'll see. I just worry about his execution at this point. We all know the stuff is there, and I think Edgardo. I've been saying all year Edgardo is probably my most untouchable prospect in the organization, and I was saying that when he was at Great Lakes, okay,
Yeah.
which is high A. I mean, that was a long time ago, and so nobody's higher than Edgardo Henriquez than I am. Nobody will be biting their nails more when he's in a high leverage situation than me because I have sat in Tulsa, Oklahoma and watched him hang sliders, walk
Mhm.
guys, and give up 4 runs in a half inning
Right.
and come out of the game only recording 1 or 2 outs. I've seen that with my own eyes. I've seen the execution not be good. So I will just be sitting there just sweating profusely if he comes into high leverage situations.
Oh, we'll be sweating this whole thing anyway.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be so. I know, and I get nervous because I know Edgardo. He's a great kid. And, there's definitely an ownership of that one.
no doubt.
Good point here. Edmund is in a major slump. Yeah, he's really looking shaky left-handed. I know he
He's
did
turning
get.
into what he's always been.
Yeah.
Things always even out. And even if you go
Yep.
back, I was talking to Eddie Days, who played for the Cardinals in the late 70s, early 80s. Then he also managed a little bit in their system. They actually wanted him to come down and be their single A manager, and he chose to instead start his family, move back to Oklahoma, and become a high school coach here. Him and I are best friends. We worked together at Guthrie forever. So, anyways, he's very connected with St. Louis Cardinals. He goes back probably 3 or 4 times a year. They have alumni parties. And so I asked him about Tommy Edman and and I asked him about Mike Schilt too. And he said the reason why that he calls him Bowtie, I guess their general manager. Bowtie wants to be in control of everything with St.
Mm.
Louis, and Schilt wanted to have a little bit of a say so. And so they fired him because of it. That was his reasoning for them getting rid of Schilt. But what he said about Tommy Edman was he got off to a great start and then kind of tapered off and then got hurt. And so the book's out on him, which kind of is exactly what's happening here. He's been just a little bit below league average offensively his entire career. So
Yeah.
he comes out and he hits the 6 home runs and he's looking like this player that nobody thought he would be. What's actually happening to him is that the game of baseball is evening out for him and he's turning into what he's always been, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it keeps on evening out a little bit better because
Yeah,
we've had the high. Well, it started low, then it went very high, then it went low. So hopefully just make some good contact here and there, play some really good shortstop if they have to, um, or wherever he's going to be called on to play. We know that he can play
sure.
anywhere on that ball field.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a ball player, man. He's a
he's a
good
local
player.
guy too here.
Yeah. You want
Played
him
a
on your team, man. That dude knows how to play. Like
Yeah.
he'll gain extra bases for you in a game that go completely unnoticed.
Yes.
That I mean, it's 90 feet, it's an extra base. And I mean, if you take 4 extra bases in a game, you have equated to averaging 1 extra run for your team. However, whether it may be like just busting out of the box and break and taking a single into a double or advancing on, a fly ball or just putting the ball in play with two strikes to advance a runner from first to second, whenever instead you could have struck out, stuff like that. So he's just a great ball player.
Yeah, I mean he does those things like you talked about with the Padres. They run the bases really well. They know how to make some things happen on the
Yeah.
bases. The Dodgers are they're not going to necessarily do some of that, but it's really good to see guys like Edmund and hey Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah.
Shohei even Will Smith a bit. Those guys seem to run the bases really well.
Yeah. Will Smith is a great athlete. And
Yeah,
that's why I've always said I think he could transition away from catcher if the Dodgers needed him to. I think he could play third base.
I do too.
First base obviously would be the first place you would think of, but you have Freddie Freeman, right? So, I mean, you already have that. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Dodgers do with Max Muncy in the future. I think they have an option for him for what, next year, or do they have
Mhm.
one
Yeah, and
more
it's
year
a
with him,
good
then an
deal.
option after that?
Yeah.
But so that it's coming up fairly sooner for Muncy than it is for Freeman, right? So it'll be interesting to see with Dalton Rushing, Diego Cartaya, Hunter Fiducia, Austin Barnes. I think will be with the Dodgers again next year. I think that's probably a pretty good bet to make. I
100%.
think you could start thinking about who your future third baseman is. Obviously, you can go get somebody, a third baseman from another team, like we've seen the Dodgers do many different times. You could maybe say it's a Cody Hosey who had a great year this year, and maybe give him a shot in spring training. Or you could say, hey, we have these two great catchers. They're both great athletes with Dalton Rushing and Will Smith. To hell with it. Let's move Will Smith to third base and let's roll with it. I think that is a not likely, but I do think that is a possibility.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I always I know they tried him there like for a couple games. It was like
Mm-hmm.
just really weird, but we know what he did in the minors. He played
Yeah.
all over the infield.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he is a really good athlete. Um, and I still think I'm a fan of at least trying Dalton Rushing at third just to see what he can do. I saw him play plenty of first base. He's not bad over there. And he's got a good arm, so it's just a matter of how much do you want that ball over at third base because it's coming in hot.
It is. Why they call it the hot corner.
Yeah, we've seen certain players not be so hot over there when that ball's coming like that. And but we've seen other guys they embrace it. I mean, Muncy's not afraid of it. He just, he's just Max Muncy. He does everything.
He's made more improvement defensively than anybody I think I've ever seen. I'm telling you, when they first got him, what was it, 2016, something like that, from the A's. And of course, I saw him at Baylor. And
Mm,
so I got to see him as a first baseman there. Then he came to Oklahoma City. And I'm telling you, man, and I don't mean this to be negative. And if Max watches this show, I hope he doesn't think I'm throwing shade. He was the worst professional defensive player I'd ever seen in my life. I'm telling you, he was terrible. So when they were like, oh, we're going to move him to second base, and I'm like, you got to be
what?
freaking kidding me. I mean, this guy can't play first base professionally defensively. How the hell? So to see him, okay, just not be catastrophic at third base as a
Yeah,
major league third baseman, I'm telling you, from where he came from, that is a win for this organization.
I agree. No, because even so in 2021 at first base, he became pretty darn good.
He did. He did.
And of course, then and even as a second baseman, now part of the reason he was able to play second is because of all the shifting. That was
Yes.
part of why he was able to get away with that. But he still was able to make some plays over there. And to be honest, 2022 and 2023, he wasn't very good at third. But this
Right.
year, there was a marked improvement before he got hurt. He did the work in the
He
offseason.
did.
He lost some weight. He worked on his agility, and he's been good. Now it was spoken about. I think Doc talked about it. For some reason, if Freddie doesn't come back, they might put Kiki at third. Who's Kiki? Kike at third, and Freddie at first, which is I'm not Freddie,
And
Muncy
Muncie.
at first, which would be fine. Kike's when he plays a one position other than shortstop, when he plays a place like third base or something like that, he just gets very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Guy's got a really strong arm. Um,
I know they played Kike at first and Muncie at third. That was for the short run. It would
yeah,
be. Do you think they would flip that? Of course, they'd
They're-
have a week here. They would know. I mean, they would have a week to
yeah,
do inter squads with it and that kind of thing. But
right. Yeah, and they will know obviously by sometime in the midweek. They've
But is
always
that,
had,
I mean, by the time you know that Freddie Freeman can't go,
yeah,
is that enough time to flip Kike and Max and put Max back over at first?
that's a great question because Max hasn't played first base probably in quite a long time now.
Right. It's
What,
it's it's not as simple as
years?
just saying, in my opinion.
Yeah,
And the
no,
Dodgers usually don't make it that as simple either. I mean, just hey, let's just put Matt Muncy back at first, right?
yeah. And the last time he played first base, he wrecked his elbow.
Right.
And that's to go back a little bit to Freddie and to Miggy Rowe. We've seen the Dodgers when Max Muncy got hurt in 2021. Oh, well, there's a chance he might be able to play. The Dodgers are never going to say that someone's done. They just won't do that. So we'll really not know until the games are going
Right.
if Freddie can't go. I mean,
Dodgers are very secretive about all that stuff.
everything,
They
man.
are.
I mean, you probably even
That
run
and
it
that's not a secret that they're secretive.
right.
I mean, you
Yeah, you
ask
probably run
anybody that
into it.
works for the org, that's what they'll tell you. Hell, I don't know. Dodgers are
Yeah,
secretive, man.
right. No, they've had some things where players told me something. Go, I'm just not going to share that because I don't want
Yeah.
this player to get in trouble.
Yeah. Right.
And you've probably seen that yourself. You go, but yeah, we've seen that in action, and that's their prerogative. It's a strategy. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. LSU Jones says Dodgers have the option to have Muncy for 10 million. So that's a bargain. My gosh. That's just
Yeah. That's for 2026. So she's saying they have them signed for next year.
okay. Well, it's probably 12 or 10 million. Hopefully there's some escalators just so Muncy gets paid. I mean, it's clearly obvious that Max Muncy loves being a Dodger. I think that's he giving these deals.
Well, I think
I
his profile on a not very good team isn't a great offensive profile. I think his profile works specifically for the Dodgers, if that makes
really
sense.
does. Yeah, it does. I mean, he's so important. I mean, that
Yeah.
lineup just gets, and when I talked about 1 through 9, how the Dodgers lineup can be, Muncy's one of those keys. As long as he's healthy, we know what Max Muncy can do in the playoffs. We've seen it. I was there in 2018 in the 18th inning when he
Yeah.
hit that home run with my bladder barrier to burst. He did it. If you remember in the 2019, I mean, people like to forget about it, and we should. In the 2019 playoffs, didn't he hit one off Strasburg in Game 5, along with
hmm
Kike Hernandez?
Yeah.
2020, he had some key home runs, and then when he went down in 2021, it was over. It was just
2025, 14.5 million. Either
great.
Shiva's coming through tonight, man.
Thank you. Yeah, usually I'll do, when I do stuff myself, I'll have stuff I'm going all over, but
Yeah.
I'd rather just continue to talk while the chat does the job for us.
Yeah, no
I
doubt.
appreciate it. Let's see. LSU or Hepatitis See You Later says Alex Freeland is going to hold down the shortstop down from 2026 to 28 until Gunnar for Henderson's free
hmm
agency in 2029.
Freeland got off to a really hot start this year.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm hoping, you know, you and I are probably the same thing. We would love to see some of our homegrown guys come in, win a spot, and keep it and become a star and stay. I mean, that was what I was hoping for Corey Seager, Cody Bellinger, and all that. Didn't work out, but maybe Andy Pajes, maybe Gavin Lux, maybe Alex Freeland. Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe Dalton Rushing. I don't know. I mean, if the Dodgers weren't willing to trade, if the rumors are true, they weren't willing to trade Dalton Rushing for Garrett Crochet. Obviously, they think really good of Dalton Rushing because
hmm
that's because Crochet also has another couple years of team control.
hmm
So for them to do that, they obviously believe in a lot in Rushing. It would take a whole heck of a lot for Rushing for someone to get to trade for Rushing, and that didn't do it.
Yeah,
I'm
because wouldn't you like to
sorry.
have Crochet thrown in the playoffs right now?
I know. I, it would be nice. I mean, he had
I
quite
haven't
a
followed
slump.
him. I know he struggled for a bit,
He
but
did.
still, just that stuff would be nice to have.
Yeah. And I would have, to be honest, the way I was looking at at the trade deadline, there was no untouchables
Right.
for me because I just think that the window is an interesting
Yeah,
window.
nobody's untouchable. There are more. That's why I always say more or most untouchable.
Yeah, right. Very, very true. But this is a team. I think the window's interesting. Mookie is 32, or yeah, he's 32 now.
Yeah.
Freddie's 35.
Crochet got it figured out in September, by the way.
He did, yeah, he
Last
did,
5 starts were good.
yeah.
He had
Um,
one bad start. He had a good start to start September. Then he gave up 4 runs in 2 innings on September 7th in his last 3 starts. He's given up 1 run in 12 innings, and he has 12. He has 18 strikeouts and just 1 walk. His last
yeah,
3 outings. Whew, I'd like to have that headed into the playoffs,
I
right?
know. Remember also he had some of that weird stuff come out about wanting to get paid to play in the playoffs and things like that. I mean, that was a weird situation. So maybe the Dodgers didn't want to go, hey, we're not going to trade Dalton Rushing for a guy that's going to be, possibly be kind of weird with us like that. I mean, but I get it. I understand that. These guys have such a short career. He's already had Tommy John. I'm already concerned about our guys, all of our
Mm-hmm.
guys that have gotten hurt and are out for all of 2025. And I'm concerned about them getting paid someday. And so I kind of don't blame him. You got to use the leverage that you have, but
Sure.
I don't
I
give
was rooting for the Dodgers to go all in. I made that very clear. Hey, man,
I
trade
was
these guys. Let them. It's a win-win situation. They get the exact situation they need. I mean, Dalton Rushing would be a major leaguer right now.
yes.
I mean, Trey Sweeney's a major leaguer right now,
Yep.
right? I mean, that's great for him.
On a playoff
Yeah,
team.
absolutely, right. I mean, and I know he's kind of fighting to have success, but still,
Right.
he's a major leaguer, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Dalton Rush. I, I players would rather be on a bad major league team
Mm-hmm.
than be in an organization that's winning World Series, but be a AAA player. Now,
Yeah.
if you think you have a future as a major league player in that organization, it gets complicated. But no player would ever be in AAA than in the major league. So when you trade a guy and he instantly becomes a major leaguer when he wouldn't have before, and then that team gets a guy like Garrett Crochet back, nobody loses. So I
Right.
mean, I just we'll see if the Dodgers made the right decision not being aggressive there. I think they probably felt like of course you couldn't foresee the Tyler Glasnow deal. They felt like with Glasnow, Flaherty, and Yamamoto, they had enough wild card type pitchers. That was enough. They didn't have to get rid of Edgardo Henriquez or Dalton Rushing. So I'm sure that was the thinking, but I still say all the time, I wish the Dodgers would have went all in.
Yeah. And because I go through this stuff, we've gone through this the last 3 years where, oh, if the pitching this, if this and that, I didn't trust, I don't trust any of them. All these pitchers are Glass now has the name Glass in it, but they're all Glass, and I don't trust any of it. I just keep getting more and more because you need more. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the way it is, and the way the Dodgers have high risk guys, you can't trust any of them. That's for sure. Will the Dodgers keep Miggy Rowe in 2025? Club option for 2025 for 5 million. Oh, that's got to be automatic.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, to be honest, I see Miguel Rojas or Austin Barnes as maybe one of the future Dodger managers when Dave Roberts finally says, I'm done with this stuff, man. I'm tired of this. I'm going to go
Yeah.
get me an easy job and
Yeah.
get paid a lot more.
I think the Dodgers could consider making Tommy Edman the everyday shortstop too. I don't
Yeah.
have any problem with that.
And I think we spoke a little bit about this also going, hey, hopefully they give Luxon one more shot at short next year, at least in spring training. Because, you know, I don't I see Pajes in right, and I see
He's a
Mookie as
better right fielder than he is center fielder, no doubt.
absolutely. And so Mookie goes to second, which means for Gavin to stick, he's got to go to short. Um, I don't know. We'll see. All I know is
I
that
don't see that happening.
yeah,
I think best case scenario is he does well and maybe you move him for
yeah,
somebody else that you want, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But
yeah,
I mean, but then again, if you have a guy that rakes in the postseason, why would you want to move that guy, right? I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah,
if he
let's
helps you win a World Series, which he has not done yet, in
Right.
his career. That's not something he's done. He has played well in the second half of the season. He has rebounded 2 different times. But as I hey, nobody's a bigger fan of Gavin Lux than I am. I promise you that.
Right.
But the proof this is a big, huge postseason for Gavin Lux. Dodgers fans don't trust him to begin with.
Yeah.
They love to just get all over him the second time that he goes over or makes an error. You know that, Tim.
Yep.
So if he does not have a good playoff season this year for the Dodgers fans will never be able to put him in their trust tree ever, no matter what happens in spring training next year or in May or in June or whatever. That's just I hope that again. That's in other words. I hope that doesn't sound negative. If Gavin is watching this show, I hope he doesn't think I'm throwing shade. I just think those are pretty much facts.
Yeah. No, it's very true. I mean, he would go out like in 2022, he played a really good second base, but
Yeah,
he makes one bad throw.
yeah,
It doesn't matter. It's like, oh my gosh, he's the worst guy, blah,
yeah.
blah, blah.
It's
He's terrible.
crazy.
Yeah. And there's a lot of expectation for
Yeah.
Gavin Lux. I mean, he was one of the top prospects in baseball. I mean, after 2019, they
Mm-hmm.
allegedly wouldn't trade him to get Francisco Lindor, all that stuff. And the Dodgers have a lot, they have a lot of credibility in him and with their credibility that they've invested in him. And
Right.
I want Gavin Lux to succeed. He's a Dodger. He's a homegrown
Yeah.
guy.
He wants to succeed too. He's very hard on himself.
Oh yeah,
I
for
promise you, nobody wants to be good more than I mean, he's one of those guys that I think the outside noise does sometimes affect.
I tell you, man, I don't know how these guys handle that. I guess you just go, man, I just got to put in earplugs. I'm gonna
Yeah,
turn
you
off.
don't get on they don't get on social media. They'll get on Instagram a little bit because I promise you they don't get on Twitter. Twitter's a cesspool, man. I
Yeah,
mean, it's rip this, rip that every time you can't get on Twitter, right? But they will get on like Instagram a little bit, and they'll follow certain accounts and
right.
they'll answer messages from certain people. But
Yep.
I think that's just and then like Robleski, for instance, like after his 10-run outing,
Yeah.
I seriously doubt he was on any social media for a week. I
Right.
mean, I would be shocked if he looked at any social media for a long time after that because why? Right.
Yeah.
So that's how you tune it out. I mean, you just go old school with it. It's called you unplug, you
Yeah.
disconnect what it is, what they call disconnect. Okay. You
Yeah.
disconnect and it's you and the buddies, it's you and Dave, it's you and the boys every single day. That is your entire world. There nothing else exists other than your family.
Imagine the receipts that you and I could gather from 2023 on Gavin Stone
Yeah, right. Well,
or
yeah.
2020 or
And I went on
2022 on
several
Ryan Pepiot.
shows. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Ryan
like
Pepio.
this whole thing of instant success. It happens sometimes, but hey, I always go back. Mike Trout's first time in the major leagues was brutal.
Yeah,
And that's just baseball. Baseball is so flippin' hard,
it is.
and
Especially for an organization that like Dodgers fans want all their prospects to get called up. Then the second they go for three, that what the hell's wrong with this guy? Like
yeah,
I tried to explain to people that Andy Paz is very, very streaky, right?
right.
He's going to have streaks to where it's going to drive Dodgers fans nuts. And so like Dodgers fans were like, this guy's a dog, this guy's awesome. And then it's like, oh, this guy's terrible. Get him the hell out of here, right? And so then it's like that was so predictable. And so it's like it's very
Yeah.
difficult to be a prospect in the Dodgers organization. And then another aspect of that is that when you think about all these other teams' players, we don't see them play every day.
Yeah.
So we don't see their warts. We don't see all the things that would drive Dodgers fans nuts as well, So like a Tanner Scott doesn't keep the ball
Yeah.
always in the strike zone. Okay. Yes. So Dodgers fans look at him, and I was one of them, definitely. So when I say Dodgers fan, I'm
Yeah.
talking about
Well, we
myself.
wanted him.
Don't
Yeah.
think I'm on a high horse, right? I
Right.
wanted Tanner Scott. But what
Absolutely.
I warned was that he would make Dodgers fans nervous because the ball wouldn't always be in the strike zone. And I think some Dodgers fans would be like, dude, I don't trust this guy. It'd be the Alex Vesia type effect, where Alex Vesia literally from the July of last year up until about halfway through this year was like the best left-handed relief pitcher in all of the game of baseball.
Yeah,
And the Dodgers fans just had no trust for him because he had like one bad outing and the ball's not always in the strike zone, right? It's just very difficult to be in this spotlight at all times. There's very few people that can handle it at all times.
absolutely. No, it's hard. There's a couple things that people are talking about the off season a lot here. I guess let's engage a little bit.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
absolutely.
I'm not in off-season mode yet, but should the Dodgers trade for Bichette type or go after free agents like Adames or Kim, ignore this? Yeah. Well, we had talked about, Edmonds on the team. Tommy Edmond is on the team next year.
I'll take Eben over any of them at this moment, personally.
Yeah,
Just
because
seeing him play.
Adames is going to cost you $200 million.
Yeah.
dollars. Hassan
I
Kim,
just don't like the I just like the profile of Edmund
I do too.
on this team. I like the bat to ball. I like the way that he takes the extra base. He moves
Yeah.
runners. He shortens up with two strikes. Willie Adamas, just to me, is just another swing and miss guy that yes, he's gonna have a lot
Frustrating.
of he's gonna have some pop and he's gonna do this and he's gonna play good defense. But so is Tommy Edman. But just for this Dodgers team, I think the Tommy Edman offensive profile, even if the average well, I mean, Willie Adamas' averages haven't always been great, but even if let's say the average isn't quite, even if he just maybe just a little bit below league average as an offensive player, like he always has been,
Yep.
just the profile of the bat to ball skills and the way that he plays, I think fits what the Dodgers need more than a Willie Adamas type player.
Exactly. No, I agree because Adamas really he's a right-handed Max Muncy without the walks. He's going to bat 230, 240. He's a really good fielder. We know that, but Tommy
Yeah,
Edmonds is good or better.
yeah.
Tommy Edmonds he's a Gold Glove in.
Well, yeah, and kind of the preface to all this is that you also have Miguel Rojas.
Yep,
This isn't like, hey, Tommy Edmonds, the future shortstop of the Dodgers, and he's going to play 162 games,
right.
and he's going to do that for the next 10 years in this organization. When I make all these statements about Tommy Edmond, I'm making them with the assumption that it's going to be somewhat of a rotation between him and Miggy Rowe, right?
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you can use Miggy Rowe as he's really meant to be, which is
Yes.
part-timer.
That's my whole point. Yes.
Yeah, or at a point you could go, hey, we could put late innings of the game. It's the Dodgers are up 4-2. It's the eighth inning, and um, whoever's the center fielder's already hit. You throw Edmund in center, you throw Miggy Rowe at shortstop, and your defense is even better now.
Mm-hmm.
I
Right.
mean, that's what that type of versatility does, and
Yeah.
that's what I love about this bench. I know it's right-handed heavy. I get it, but we got three guys that can play all over the diamond. Well, throw in Mookie Betts. If you have to play him at shortstop,
Mm-hmm.
someone goes down, he could play shortstop, but we don't want that. That's bad news if Mookie's at short. But that versatility this brings, and Tommy Edmond is such a Dodger player. He's probably going to, someone's going to be missing next year from some of the players that are on the bench now. But Tommy Edmond will more than make up for that. Let's see. Question: should Hudson be on the playoff roster? He is incredibly shaky. He has to be. You don't have anything else.
He's the B team. So
Yes.
like you have your A team, you have so like if everything goes right, so which it hasn't because no starter seemed like it's gone 6 innings in forever.
Yeah.
But the map is for your starter to go 6 innings, right? And so then your A team is Evan Phillips, Blake Trinan, and Michael Kopech. The question is, who is if your starter only goes 5 innings, who's the A team 6th inning guy?
Yeah.
That guy's Bruce Gratterall, who's been hurt. That guy is Alex Vesia. That guy is, I believe, Anthony Bonda.
Did
I
you
think
did you mention
that's who.
Brazier? Brazier in the
Yeah,
top?
yeah, Brazier. But I mean, has he put enough work in for you to be on the A team? Would be my
No,
question.
not the A team, but he would
Right,
be.
that's what I'm
I mean,
saying.
I would give him the sixth inning over, depending on the situation. I mean, if you got a bunch of with
Over
Vessi,
Vesia or Bonda?
yeah, well, Vessi's got good for him. He's got even splits. Uh,
Yes.
the other thing, Brazier has been there, done that. Vesia has been there, but he hasn't done it in the playoffs. Banda has never, it's going to be a different level. We don't know what's going to happen. I know Brazier's been there. He's got a ring. Um, so I got that feeling for him, but also though his stuff is not as good as Vesia's or Banda's either. I mean,
Right.
Bandit comes in there, sometimes he's firing 97, 98
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a
I
pickup.
think Bonda and Vesey are your A team 6th inning guys. And
Yeah.
then if you only go 5, and then your 7th inning guy is probably Phillips, your 8th inning guy is Trinan, your 9th inning guy is Kopech. And then if your starter goes 6 innings that night, fantastic. Then you still have one of your A team guys to go to the next day.
And you can also play matchups a little bit more too
Correct.
with Banda
Correct.
and Messi if you have to.
Yeah.
And saying Joe Kelly has to be off the playoff roster. No, I don't think so. I think he's on. I don't think there's a question because there's not enough with all these injuries, especially with Brewstar going down. I think I think it lines up that I don't have my list in front of me, but I think Kelly's definitely going to be on the
Yeah.
roster.
Definitely a B teamer.
Yes.
So
He
like your B team lineup would be like either Vesey or Bonda, who you didn't
mhm.
throw the night before in the 6th inning. I think and then if he's healthy, it'd be like Brusdar Gratterall, right? And then I don't know who from there.
Right. Yeah, it gets shaky.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I mean, you're dealing with
I think one of those A team guys maybe has to throw back-to-back nights.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Kopech can do it. I mean,
Kobe can do it, and I think Phillips can too.
right.
I do like the idea
Especially
though.
if there's a night off after that,
Oh, for
travel
sure.
day after that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, good. And I think that's the way it is with all the playoffs. At least the first round. There's two off days, so it goes 2-2-1.
Right.
So they can do that. I'd like to make sure that especially those Padres, man, don't send the same guys after don't back to back Phillips against the same three
Yeah.
guys. I think that's a
Right.
mistake because Phillips has been a little bit off this year. He was really off for a bit, um, but he seems to be better. And when he's on, he's really nasty, but he's not. He just doesn't seem to be 2023 Phillips.
Well, he's been really good. He's had that 1 5 inning outing, but
Yeah,
other than that, he's actually, well, I said it the other day, he's been excellent other than that one bad outing. The problem Dodgers fans have with him is that from the second that he walked in to the Dodgers locker room, he's been just absolutely elite every
yeah,
second of his moments here with LA. And so when we see him leak a little bit, we're not comparing him to other relievers. We're comparing him to a
Phillips.
guy that was like a Superman in the last 2 or 3 years, right? So it's
Right.
a little bit unfair to compare Evan Phillips. So yes, he hasn't been as good as he has been in the last couple 2 or 3 years, but he still, other than like a bad outing here or there, has been fantastic, right? I mean, in
Yeah.
August he went like 10 or 11 outings in a row scoreless.
Yeah, and I look at both Phillips, Trinan, and Kopech. I like them as firemen. I don't care about the closer.
I definitely
It
like Phillips as a close as a fireman because he'll be able to move the ball while
yeah.
also throwing strikes. If you can move the ball while also throwing strikes, you can use that aggressive nature of the hitter in those big moments against them, and that's Evan Phillips to me.
Yeah, he's got amazing stuff when yeah. I mean, it's a really I think it's a really good comparison you just did where we're expecting so much out of him.
Yeah.
One is I'd
See,
rather have
so
Kasparias,
just
Enriquez.
as far as Evan Phillips goes, let me kind of give you an example.
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He's gone scoreless in 12 out of his last 14 outings.
Yep.
In his 13th outing, he gave up 1 run.
Yeah.
But then in that 14th outing, he gave up 5.
Yeah.
So other than that, and then before that, Tim, he gave up 1 run. And then before that 1 run he gave up, he went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He went 10 outings in a row before
Yeah.
that, going scoreless. So there is 10 outings in a row right there. There's 10 out of 11. There is 13 out of 14. There is 16 out of 17, 17 out of 18. So there is 21 out of 22, 21 out of 24, 20. So 23 out of his last 26 outings have been scoreless. 2 of those have only been 1 run. And then you had the 1 5 run inning. We as
Impressive.
Dodgers fans,
Yeah.
because for some reason we do this, we concentrate on that 1 5 run performance, right? It's just like all that we can't get over.
Who I don't even remember who it was against. Was it Cubs?
It was against Atlanta.
Atlanta. Okay. See, I don't even remember who it was against.
Yeah, it was
It was
September
such a it was
14th.
such a he must have like ate something wrong or something like that. I mean, he
I
got up
mean,
on
it happens
the
as
side of the bed.
baseball. This shit happens in baseball. Pardon my
Yeah,
French, right?
hard game.
It's a hard
They
game.
people talking about Casparius, Enriquez, Honeywell over Kelly. They're going to go with Kelly no matter. I mean, if that's the choice, they're going to go with Kelly. We know that. Asking about is Kiermaier on the roster if Hand is okay. His glove is incredible, but Andy Pajes has earned it. Chris Taylor has earned it. Kiermaier, he's had a few hits over the last few days, but other than that, I mean, in September he stopped hitting for quite a bit.
Well, and it doesn't mean just because he's not on the first
Yeah,
postseason roster, he can't be on the second, right? I mean,
yeah,
I
and
think
if
it's going to be
someone,
matchup based. They're going to use a lot of analytics with that.
yeah, and I've said it before, if they're playing the Padres, remember the Padres are very right-handed heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he does sneak onto the roster. Well, especially
Right.
if someone's hurt, he's going to be on the roster if he's healthy. That's
Right.
for sure. He's the 27th guy,
Yeah. Right.
or well, the 14th guy because it's 13 pitchers and 13 position players. He's the 14th guy right now, but he's right there.
Yeah.
Um, and I know he's going out. Boy, I'd sure like to send that boy out with a ring. That would be just incredible. Um, let's see. See whatever's going around. Yeah, better September Phillips, which Casey talked about. Trinan has been incredible this season. The funny thing is he's not throwing as hard as he used to, but he's found a way to adapt, and he's still got the movement. Just that video
Sweeper.
game
Holy
movement.
Jesus.
It's
Golly.
Can you imagine? I mean, yeah, I mean, some of those swings that I mean, Machado was defeated that first at bat. He's swinging at
He wasn't
stuff
even mad. He was
2 feet
like,
outside.
I can't hit that. I mean,
Yeah,
he
he's
wasn't
like,
even
"Get me
mad.
out of here! I'm done."
Yeah. He was just, I don't even want to be up here anymore.
And,
uh,
well, he's the same way with Dustin May, right? There's some
yeah.
great video of Dustin May getting Machado, and so
Yeah.
hey, and you and I know Manny Machado is an amazing player. He's had a really good last 2 months. I fear him. Well, I fear everyone right now. I fear everybody. If they don't have a Dodger
I don't
uniform,
fear him. I respect him.
yeah. Yeah. I just don't want to see him up when it counts against.
I don't want to see the Padres. I ain't gonna lie. I
Yeah,
guess I say I respect, not fear. That comes out of respect, not fear. You say call it whatever
yeah,
you want. It's all semantics, but I don't want to see the Padres.
yeah. And it's playoffs. Every team is really good.
Well, they
These are
wouldn't be
all
there if they weren't. They're also
exactly.
the teams because to be able to outlast that 162, in 162, all of your weaknesses come to the forefront. So
Yeah.
these are the teams that typically speaking, yes, they have the best players, but they have the fewest holes.
Yes. Yes. And now it's like, okay, they some of these, even the Dodgers, they had to go in. We clinched on Thursday, right? Thursday.
Yeah.
I was a little later than I wanted. I wanted it to be Sunday. That was what I wanted, just so they'd have a week to get things back in order. But
Yeah.
they've got the bye. They've had to play meaningful games. And at the end of the day, every time it had to happen, this team stepped up and they showed me a lot over the last series against the Padres. And even, hey man, I know there were quote meaningless games, but they swept the Rockies
Yeah.
in Colorado. It was their World Series. You saw how hard they were playing against them. You saw how hard Buddy Black was managing against them. He wanted it bad. They wanted it bad. And
Yeah. In college football, it's a team that like has a losing record and like it's their last game of the year. They say, hey, this is our bowl game.
uh-huh.
That was the bowl game for the Colorado Rockies.
Yes. Yes. And they got swept.
Yeah, they
And
did.
and so good on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It was all these struggles. I mean, Doc spoke about it. I mean, the injuries are record. Every year it seems the Dodgers keep breaking records for injuries. The turmoil. Let's go back to the gambling thing at the beginning of the season with the interpreter.
Yeah.
And then we had, poor Freddie had to deal with his son and and of
All
course
the
the injuries.
injuries and yeah.
And but every time they really had to, they even last Sunday,
Hmm.
that was a must-win game against the Rockies.
It
And
was definitely a need to win. I mean, you can't say
yeah,
must win because if they lost, you still could recover. And,
yeah,
I mean, it wasn't like a game 7, but yeah, it was definitely a need to win.
yeah. And it was one of those, at that time easily the most important game of the year, and they won that game. They stepped in it on Tuesday, but then they stepped right back to it. They stepped right back up on Wednesday and Thursday. And
Yeah, they
so
did.
I think I said this last year a little bit because I thought they had a different character, but the character was never really tested. The character's been tested this year of this team. And so
Yeah.
that's
Ryan
where
says if the Mets and Braves split tomorrow, who will play? Who's going to play against the Padres?
I don't know, but I think it's the Braves.
Okay.
But I'm not positive about that. It just depends on tiebreakers and all that type of stuff. I don't know how it.
I
They've been
have.
very vague about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Muncy was out a lot of the year. He missed what a
Yeah.
good 3 months. It should have been. It was supposed to. Well, he's day to day. Classic Dodger injury. He's out 3 months.
Yeah. Right. Tyler Glass
Um,
now.
yeah, yeah, Glasnow. Yeah, and then we had we thought we might have Dustin May, and what happened? I still don't understand what esophagus.
Don't
What
ask me. I don't know.
I what the heck?
I have no earthly idea.
Yeah, so
That was a
they've
weird
gone
deal.
through a lot and they've endured. I think they have. I think they have. There might be a little bit of extra in this team um, that they need. There's always that. It's the playoffs. Things are different.
Yep.
Who gets hot? We'll see.
The little things tend to matter more because everything's tight. You're not facing down staff. I mean, you're facing the
Right.
best teams. You're not facing the eighth best reliever for the Miami Marlins. Although the Marlins,
Right.
that's a bad example because they have seems like they have unlimited arms. As not good as they've been, but
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, all the hitters are better. All the pitchers are
yeah,
better. You're just going. There's
stakes
no
are
wall.
higher. Everything
Yep.
gets scrutinized.
Someone said May tried eating antler or something.
Yeah, he's a big old Texan. Me being from
It might be
Oklahoma, I know
true.
exactly. I know exactly how he grew up. Yeah,
Wrestling
I
a longhorn out there, huh?
grew up the same way myself, man.
Yeah.
I know exactly how it goes.
All
I
right.
got to
Well,
sit next to his parents one night. It
yeah,
was
you're
funny.
telling me
It was
about
great.
that.
It was
Yeah.
great. It was a lot of fun.
Well, we've
Yeah,
been
my
at
Dodgers dogs over here ready for their walk, man. They've been
there you
coming
go.
over and
Yeah, I
saying
was
hi
ready to
to
say
me.
we've been on this almost an hour and a half, and
Been fun, man. I appreciate you having me
yeah,
on. I know I had you on last week, so that was a lot of fun.
yeah. So maybe some further playoff preview once we know who we're playing or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt.
We'll
No doubt.
we'll be out there somewhere. Yeah, hope separate and together. Um,
Kind of nice doing a video, and I didn't have to actually set the video up. I didn't have to do the thumbnail. I don't have to log out. All I got to do is say bye. That's kind of nice.
yeah, yeah. And with the way I've got Zoom, it's just kind of weird. I might try the restream or something. I can't remember. I think that's the one. I might try that next time. I've
I
done that.
use Restream, yeah.
I might try that one. And we'll see. But yeah, I appreciate you, of course, coming on. It's surprised that you were on. We were looking at a delay, but I'm glad you were able to come on and
Yeah.
appreciate you, getting that together. And we appreciate, of course, everyone coming out. Usually
Yeah.
when we do these collaborations, we can't answer everything, but we appreciate everyone dialing in and seeing what's going on. And
No
so
doubt.
we
No doubt.
appreciate it. And Casey, got any last words of encouragement or hopefully not discouragement?
It's a great day to be a Dodger. That's it. Gonna be
Exactly.
fun, man. I'm nervous as hell. I can't lie.
Yeah, me too. Well, on that note, as always, we appreciate everyone. And thanks to everyone. Thanks, Casey. And we will see you guys the next time around. As always, God bless and go Dodgers. Wait, hold on.